Welcome back to video 4, and this is where I'm making this healthy cake. Now, what's in this healthy cake? I'm making a box cake because I want to make something very quickly. I don't want to start from scratch measuring things out, so I'm just going to use a box cake that is already been things are already measured out. So what box cake am I using? There's so many different box cakes that I use, or package cake. So I have let me see if I have one. No, I don't have one. So if you watch my last video where I made a normal cake, but again it's a box cake and it's a different brand of cake mix that I used. So the difference is something that's branding, but it's all cake mix. So this time around I'm making another cake, and I said in the last video of the cake that I made that's gonna make a cake, but I'm going to make it very healthy because I'm going to put lots of different vegetables in it. And the two surprises that I told you I was going to be sharing with you, I'm going to make one on the stove with my Saladmaster pot. You're going to wonder, wow, cake on the stove. Yes. Then the second one I'm going to make in the oven. And I just wanted to show you what the two cake look like. And let's see if they taste the same. Okay, so let's look at what it is that I'm going to be using to cook this food. I need to put these away. And so what am I using to make this cake? So I'm going to use this box cake. It's a Morrison chocolate fudge cake mix. Excuse me. Now, what does it contain? So in the kit, it has chocolate sponge cake mix with a chocolate flavor frosting mix and white and dark chocolate cores. So you just need to add 2 eggs, unsalted butter, and semi-skimmed milk to make this cake. So this should be the mix. I didn't want to buy a cake with the icing because of frosting, but there we are. I should have read that, but never mind. So that's the cores that come in it, and I'm guessing the smaller one is the frosting, and that's the actual cake. So how am I going to make this very healthy? Let's see what I'm going to be putting in it. So I'm going to be using the red cabbage, which is that one, and the white cabbage. I'm going to put a carrot in it. Then I'm going to put celery, but I forgot to get the celery, so that's fine, but you can add celery in it. Then I'm going to put a radish. That's what it looks like. And then I'm also going to put cucumber. The cucumber, I used all of it, but that's the remainder of it. So what I did was I cut some using cone 5. So I have that I can put in the fridge, and whenever I want to eat something, I want to snack, I can snack on this. And this is so good. I have carrot that I cut up that I can snack on. So those are going to go into the fridge. But the remaining carrot I grated. And then I also cut in courgette and an apple. I said I don't have the apple here. It was a red apple. I ate some of it. Now, so I use cone 1. So this is cone 1, what it looks like. Written there. Cone 1. So again, what I just did was place it in there, into this. I have to be very careful after hurting myself. So you just place it in there. And then what you do, let's see if I can place this. It's not going to stay properly because I'm using one hand, but I just want to show you what I mean. Okay, so it's not securely placed because I need 2 hands to secure it. So what I just do is then you put the carrot there and just do 2 turns. So put it there and then turn the handle twice. And then that's enough carrot. You can do it 4 times. This time around I did four times. But just start with 2. And if you want to be more adventurous, then you can do 4 turns. So every single thing that I put there, the courgette I put there, and I did turn this 2 times. That's what you start with, but in my own case I did 4. And then with the radish, again, place it on against this like that, and again 2 turns. With the white one, You can see there, that's where I did the 2 turns, placing it like that, and then 2 turns. But this other side is the middle part is where I cut it to using cone 3. I used it to make the vegetable that I cooked. And then also that you can see from here, that's where I did the 2 turns. So these are the things that I'm going to now show you what it looks like. So that's all of it there, everything that I've cut up. So you can see the courgette, and you can see some of the cucumber, you can see the red cabbage, some of the white cabbage, you can see the carrot in there, so apple, and so on. So all the vegetables in there. So I'm going to start mixing my batter and then pour that in and separate it out, so that one will be cooked in the silicone cake container, and then the other one will be made in my 1 quart Saladmaster pot. That's going to go on the stove, and that's going to go in the oven. So let's go ahead and start mixing it up. So I need 2 hands to open this, not that one. I'm going to put this aside because I'm not going to be using that one, and I'm going to be using that one. So if I decide to mix the frosting and put it on the cake, that's fine. If not, I might end up chucking it away, which is such a shame. So that's why I always like to buy the other cake mix that I usually use, because I get all of them is just a cake mix that I'm going to be using. Another cake mix you can buy is the Auntie Bessie one. I think it's called Auntie Bessie. I think it's called Auntie Bessie, but anyway, I'll get a picture of it and show it to you. The other 2 that you can use for making this cake. But best use a chocolate cake, because that means that the vegetables disappear, you don't see it, and you can still enjoy your cake without staring at the vegetable. But if you want to look at the vegetable, then you can use a white, even a normal sponge cake mix, Madeira one, or any other one. Just any cake mix is fine, but what I'm going to be using is a chocolate one. So let's start mixing it up. I'm going to add in here, like this said, so I just need to add 2 eggs. My hands are dry because I've been washing it repeatedly, so it's really dry. Anyway, so I'm going to put 2 eggs, a little bit of butter, and semi-skimmed milk in here. That's what I'm going to put in here, but I need 2 hands, so let's get it done. So let me show you the things that I'm going to put in this cake. So you already know that I'm putting this chocolate cake mix. I'm also going to I've put the ground nutmeg, so that's the nutmeg at this end, just a tiny bit of a teaspoon, then that's it. Then I'm also put ground cinnamon. That's the cinnamon there. So that's the nutmeg, and that's the cinnamon. So again, just a small amount in a teaspoon, and I put it in there. Then the next one, I'm going to be putting the vanilla extract, and then I put this salted caramel sugar dusting. Again, just 1 teaspoon. So, and the sugar dusting was there, but it's melted inside the egg yolk. Then I also put honey. So the honey was put on this side part of the eggs. So just a small amount, maybe about 4 or 5 tablespoons of this in there. Then I put bicarbonate of soda, or you can put baking powder. Again, a little bit, 1 teaspoon was put on this side. And so the next thing I'm going to be putting is the semi-skimmed milk, and I've put 100 ml in here. So just down here, that's 100 ml. Then you can put 30. According to this, you should put about 40 grams of soft butter, but I'm not going to use butter. I'm just going to use the sunflower oil, and I'm going to put 4 tablespoons inside there. So the only thing remaining to put in here is that some of this vanilla extract and the milk. That's all that is remaining to put in there, and then I'm going to whisk it. So once if you want to see how to whisk it, look at my other cake and you see how to whisk it. It's a bit difficult for me to do it with one hand. So I'm going to whisk it everything after pouring these and then show you, you know. So the milk, again, I put the milk and I'm putting it where the egg is. And I need 2 hands for that one and that one. Then I'll whisk it and I'll show you. So don't forget that these vegetables are going to go all in there too. So again, I need 2 hands to scoop this in, and then I will show you what it looks like. So the last thing I'm going to put in this would be the golden caster sugar. Now this is a 1 kilogram of sugar, and then this half of it there is about 500, and this should be about 200 remaining, but I'm not going to put the whole 200. Maybe I'm just going to put maybe about half or quarter of it. Quarter of the 200 should be what, 50. So let's pour about 50. I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm pouring it at the very top there. So look at it. Yeah, a little bit more. And that's it. So just about 50 into this. So if you want to put a little bit of brandy in it, you can just put a little bit of brandy. If you look at the last cake, I did put a brandy in it, but I'm not putting brandy in this one. So I'm just going to start folding in using setting 1, and just gradually folding. I always like to start where the egg is and then gradually folding. The last time I was videoing and mixing this, I ended up spilling things everywhere, and I don't want to do that today. So I shouldn't have put the whole 100 ml of milk in it because of the vegetable. I should have put maybe about half of it, but so that's what it looks like. So it's a bit watery. So what I'm just going to do is put a little bit of flour in it. So when you're doing just don't put the whole 100 ml of semi-skimmed milk. Maybe put about 50 ml, and because of the vegetables. So I'm going to get some flour and put in it. So I've got a self-raising flour there. I think this is also flour. I'm going to open them and see what they are. Yeah, so this is a self-raising flour. It turns out those two are granular sugars. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this flour because I want it a little bit thicker than what it is. If you haven't baked cake before, you will just go with that thickness, but I don't want it to be that thick. So again, I'm going to just eyeball it while I pour this in. So let's mix it and see how it is. I have to be very careful. I don't want to spill this. Constantly filming with one hand. Okay, so let's just gently fold this in. And hopefully it will get thickened up a little. Now when you're doing that, be very careful because you don't want your whole flour to spread all over your kitchen counter. So you just want to do that gently and gently fold it in. Again, it's still a bit runny, so it's a bit runny, so I'm going to put a little bit more of the flour in. Okay, but when you're doing this, please remember, start with maybe 25 ml of the milk, and then if you're using this particular brand of cake mix, start with 25 ml, and then when you mix it, see what it looks like, and then see if you need to add a little bit more. So let's fold this in. Again, be very careful. You don't want the flour splashing everywhere. Okay, it's thickening. That's good. I want it a bit more thicker than this. So let's do the last amount that I'm going to put in now, the last flour. So, okay. So again, I'm just playing it by ear. I have to be very careful. I don't want to rip this because that would be tragic. So move this to the middle and then start folding in. Again, gently fold it in so you don't have flour spilling everywhere. That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's thick enough. I like that. That is fantastic. So let's look at the thickness now. That's the thickness. Can you see that? So that's the level of thickness that I wanted. Okay. Just taste it. This is tasty. Very tasty. So what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of it inside the pot. This pot now has been lined with oil. You can see that. And then this is also been lined with oil. So just put a tiny bit of oil and just smooth it around. So I'm going to put some in this one and some in this one. And then I'll get back, show you after I've done that, because I need 2 hands to do that. Okay, so I've emptied all of this using that. I'm going to scrape everything into that. So I've got that much in my skillet, 1 pot skillet, and I've got that much in the cake. Remember, cakes does rise, so never don't fill up your cake containers. If not, it's going to overflow and then it forms a dome. Not that it's bad to form a dome, but you don't want your cake to overflow too much. You want it to, cook nicely, evenly, and make sure that your container that you're using is enough size for it. If you only got 1 container, then that's fine. Just make 1/2, and then when you finish, turn it out and put the remaining in and then bake it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the stove, and then I'm going to put this in the oven, and then let's get that done. Okay, so let's start with the oven. So I've been preheating the oven on gas mark 4. So let's put it in. So you have to put it right in the middle. So I need to put this a little bit in the middle of this. You can place this directly there, but I don't want to do that. So that's going to the middle of my oven, and then I'm gonna leave it there for 20 minutes to cook. So I need to find out what the time is, but that's done. And then now we're going to move on to the cooker. But before I do that, I'm going to note down the time, because I need to cook that for 20 to 25 minutes in the oven. So the time is 2:27, and I need to cook it for 20 to 25 minutes, 25 minutes, yeah. So I will be stopping it at 2:47, and if it's not done, the last 5 minutes I'm going to, let's see, oh sorry, I was talking about the oven, not the stove. Yes, I'm cooking it for 20, which means I'm stopping here or 25 minutes, which means I'm stopping here. Sorry, 2. So either I stop there or there. So 20 to 25 minutes. Now, usually my cake, when I bake a large cake, I will cook it for 60 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes, and then half cake will be 30 minutes. But I'm going to follow instruction for the cake box, because the bake cake box said for cook it 20 to 25 minutes. So let's see what it looks like then. Now let's move on to the stove. So I'm going to be using this small stove, this small one here to cook it. That's a large one, that's the too small, but so I'm going to use this one. Under normal circumstances I would actually use this size, but I'm going to use that one. So let's put the oven on, which is going to be a bit tricky because I'm using one hand. So let's go. So that's on. Now I need it to be on medium to low heat. So that's what I've put it on, medium to low heat. I've got flour dusted all over this. Anyway, so I'm just gonna place this on the stove. And I'm gonna cover it. Where's the cover? That's the cover. I'm going to cover it. So I'm gonna let it cook until I start hearing it flap. Once it starts flapping, I'm going to turn it down to the lowest heat and I'm going to cook it for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so let's leave that. Again, I'm going to note down the time for that one. So the one for the stove is 2:30 right now. So I want to cook it for 15 to 20 minutes. So that will be 2:45, 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm just stopping it there, or 2:50, and then I'm stopping it there. So I have to keep an eye on these 2 times for the cake. So right now that one is medium to low. So I'm gonna wait for it to start flapping, and once it starts flapping, turn down the heat to the lowest heat and then continue to cook. So I just quickly transferred it to this other one. I wanted to use the smallest hob to cook this because this is just a 1 quart, so it doesn't need that much heat over there. So I've just transferred it to this one and to continue cooking. So what I forgot to tell you was, because the Saladmaster pot, that pot, once you've covered it, it's sealed and it turns into a pressure cooker. So when you're making a box cake on the stove, you want to do that for half the time of the box cake. So you put the batter in, so put the batter in the pot, put the pot on the stove, and then what you need to do is, this is not making noise, but I can feel the top of it. It is quite hot. It's supposed to be flapping, so I don't know why it's not flapping, but the top of it is very hot. So what I'm doing is, that says to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. So I had to redo the calculation because half of 20 is not 15, it's actually 10. So I'm just going to cook it for 2 to 240. And then once it's 240, I'm going to crack open the cover and then cook it for the last 5 minutes. And that's to help the top of it brown. But the one in the oven is 20 to 25 minutes, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now the last time I checked, it was 2:38, so I'm just gonna go check again and see what the time is. So yeah, it's 2:40 now, so I'm going to crack open this pot. So that's it. So I'm just gonna crack it open. So look at the cake, can you see that? So I'm just gonna crack it open for it to bake for the last 5 minutes. While that is getting done, this one is for 2:47, so I'm going to wait 2:47 when I open that one. But you did see what I showed you when I opened that cake. So it is 2:45 and my cake has been baking for 15 minutes. Remember, 10 minutes in the beginning once it gets hot, and 5 minutes, crack it open so that I can brown the top. So let's look at my stovetop cake, vegetable cake. That's the cake. Look at that. Now I'm going to pierce through it and see what the inside is like, because you know when you're baking cake you want it cooked through. So open that. So let's pierce through there. Oh, okay, can you see that? I'm gonna pierce through that side. So I need to wipe this before I keep piercing through it a second time. But it means that I need to leave it to cook a little bit more, because although the top looks cooked, can you see that it's not completely done? So I'm going to put it back and see, slightly cracked. I'm gonna cook it for another 5 minutes. Let's see what it's going to be like. Is 247, so let's check out the oven one. The oven one has now been cooking for 20 minutes. Now bear in mind I'm following the timing for on the box to cook this. Well, usually when I put my cake in the oven, I'll cook it. The small size one I'll make for about 30 minutes. A bigger size one I'll make for 50 to 60 minutes. But it's been 20 minutes and I'm following the box cake. It says 20 to 25 minutes. So let's look at what it looks like after 20 minutes of cooking. So I need my glove to get this out. Okay. The heat is still on, good. So that's the cake. Look at that, it's shaking, so that has not been cooked. So, and I don't like opening the cake while it's still cooking, because it ends up dropping in the middle. So I'm just gonna leave that. And I usually will cook cake at gas mark 5, but it says 4, so I'm just gonna go to what I usually use and cook 5, gas mark 5. And we'll get back for the extra 5 minutes. It says 20, but I doubt very much it will be done, because when it was shaking right now. But I'll still do the 20 to 25 minutes, just following the box instruction. And then I will come back for 250 to look at the one in the pot. It's 250 now, so let's look at the cake in the on the stove top. So that means that we've been cooking it for 15 minutes now. So I'm gonna turn this around. So again, get this, stick in the middle, make sure to see if it's coming out clean. It's not coming out clean. So again, that means I need to cook it for a bit longer, but this time around I'm going to cover it completely. So I'm gonna cook it for another 5 minutes. All right, okay. It's also now 2:52, so that means the the oven cake have been cooking for 25 minutes. So let's go check that one. But I'm a bit apprehensive opening it, because the more you open the oven, the higher the chances you're going to end up making a cake that's caved on the middle. But even if it caves in the middle, I'm still gonna eat it, so as long as it tastes good. But we're making a box cake and it says that, so let's follow that instruction and go see. So get it out. I need to turn this. So that's the cake. It's not shaking that much, but let's dip it. Let's get that and dip that. It's not coming out completely clean. Yeah, it's not coming out completely clean. So look at that. So look at this side and look at that side. So it needs to be put in there. So I'm gonna leave it for another 5 minutes. Another 5 minutes will make it 30 minutes that it's been cooking. Okay, let's go add 5 minutes to that. So 2:57. I'll go back and check it. That's been 250, hasn't it? So I need to add that 5 minutes that's going to be going in here. The extra 5 minutes. So that'll be 255. Struggling to write with one hand. This paper keep moving, so I'm struggling to write with one hand. Just bear with me. 255, so I'm gonna keep an eye on it for that. It's 255 for the oven stove. So let's look at it again and turn this round. That's what it's looking like. So I'm gonna pierce this in the middle. It's still coming out. See, the sides are baked properly. You can see that the side is baked properly because it's coming out clean. See, the side is fine, but the middle is the one that is still, can you see that? So it means that it's not fully done. So I'm just going to leave it for another 5 minutes. So again, fully covered this time around again. And let's add 5 minutes there. So that means at 3 o'clock, I should go and come and look at it again. Sorry. So it's 3 o'clock now. So let's look at this one. See what is doing in the middle. Yep. Is coming out clean in the middle. So that's completely done. So I'm gonna turn this off, and it's done. So I'm gonna cover it cracked, a little bit cracked, so I can get the steam out. I don't want it too moist because it's a stove cooked cake. It's not dry. It's going to be a little bit moist. You don't want it too moist. So just crack that open a little bit just to let some of the vapor out. So now what have we learned about this cake? Because the last time I made this cake on the oven, it was before COVID. So that was a long time ago, and I didn't make notes of the time, but I used to make a lot of it then. So let's look at what we've learned. So we started at 2:30 and we finished at 3 o'clock. So that means that the cake baked for 30 minutes. So that's a 30 minutes cake. So I would advise that you bake it for 20 minutes and then keep it slightly cracked open for the last 10 to 5 minutes. So you bake for 20 to 25 minutes on the stove. I need to write this down. 20 to 25 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes you leave it cracked open. So let's move on. Now we're going to go to this one, which has been cooking for another 5 minutes. So that's that should be about 30 minutes also. Let's look at this one in the oven. Excuse me. So open. Now let's check it. Now this is clean, so poke it there. It's coming out. It's gonna come out clean, yeah, because I can feel it. It's clean. Poke on this side, coming out clean. Poke it in the middle. Nah, it's still wet. It's wet in the middle, so I'm going to leave it for another 5 minutes. But I'm going to cook it on the gas mark 4 now. So another 5 minutes I'm going to be adding to this. So I think I've checked it how many times now. 20, 25, 30. So let's see how long this is gonna take. 3:03. It should be 3:03 now. Anyway, let me go check the time. It should be about 3:03, which means yeah, it's 3:04. So I'm adding another 5 minutes to that. So let's turn this around. So that's the 5 minutes that's not, because it's 303 and I just put in the oven. So that's going to be 308. So that means I've been cooking it for how long now? 35 minutes. I've been cooking it for 35 minutes, so another 5 minutes would make it 14 minutes that I've been cooking it for. So that's 25, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So fingers crossed this last 5 minutes will do it, and then the cake will be done. Then we can just leave it to cool down before we turn it out. So while I'm waiting for that 5 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this and then place it on that mat. And it's made with wood, the same wood that you use to make the corkscrew for your wine. So I'm just going to take this out and then place it on there to leave it to cool. I want the vapor to go out and not seep into the cake. So that's how many food now? So I've got the sauce, the vegetable, the cake, that one, and the one in the oven, and the chicken. So later I'll be boiling rice. I'm gonna have to do it in this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cook it in that one. I could cook it in the bad boy, but I'm just gonna cook it on this one later. You already know how to make rice. So with rice, let's turn the camera. With rice, what you normally do is measure out the cup. So if you put 1 cup of rice, then you want to put 2 cups of water when you're cooking it. But if you're using the Saladmaster pot, 1 cup of rice, then you put 1 cup of water, and then you boil it for about 5 minutes. Take it out, rinse it out, and then put back the rice in your pot. But this time around, when you put water in your Saladmaster pot. You want to put water at the same level to your rice, and then you cook it until it's completely done. With the pot, your normal pot, you want to put water slightly above the rice level, and then you cook it until it's completely done. So when you finish cooking it, get a fork and tussle it, the top of it, and then you can leave it and it's done. Rice doesn't take that much time. With Saladmaster pot or with your rice cooker, it does take really short time to cook. So basically everything that I've cooked now, it doesn't take that much time. So if I stop, you notice there isn't a lot of junk in the kitchen. So if I move this, put it away there, so just go around the kitchen, and that's a lot of food that I've just cooked, and it take me so much time to cook it. What do we have? We have our sauce, we've got chicken, we've got cake for afters, we've got salad to eat on the side. So let's check the time for that, because I'm supposed to look at it in 3:08. Let's see if it's 3:08 yet. Yeah, it's 3:08 on the dot. So I need to clean out this, because if you see, it's got some of the cake batter on it. So I need to clean it out, because when I put this in the cake, I want it to come out clean. So I'm gonna clean this out. So I've cleaned it out. You can see now it's clear. Yeah, there's no cake batter on it, and it's exactly 3:09 now. So let's get this cake out. Now whenever you're baking cake, you don't want to be opening the oven too much, but because I'm trying to follow the recipe from the cake box, that's why I'm doing this. So what we're trying to check is the middle. See that it's cooked. Yeah, is not completely cooked. I'm looking at this. Not completely cooked. So I'm gonna put it right back again. So maybe I should have stayed with the 5 instead of turning it down to 4. I should have stayed at the 5 because that's what I usually bake the cake on. So I'm just going to leave it for 3 minutes. Fingers crossed. It's the 3 minutes and it should be done at gas mark 5. So I should have left here gas mark 5. So I'll get back to you when it's 3 minutes. So it's 3:12 now. Now I said I was gonna put it for a minute. Let me just show you something. So when I took it, I was 309. So I had to make sure that I add that to this maths. So I put 4 minutes in there. So it's still 3 minutes that I'm cooking it. But remember, I took it out at 309 instead of 308 because I was talking. So it has to be taken out at 3:12 and it's now 3:12. Again, an advice that I always give you when you're making cake, remember the runnier it is, the longer it will take to cook. So you don't want your batter runny. You want it a little bit thick. And so let's go get it out. And then also remember that the oven stove one, you should cook it from what we've done now. It should be cooked for about 30 minutes. But also remember that the fact that I kept opening the pot, every time I open it, the pressure lowers down. So that's why it's taking longer. So hence the reason I said cook it for 20 to 25 minutes. And in the last 5 minutes, you just want to crack it open so that the top browns, especially if you're not making chocolate cake, you want it to brown a little bit. So you crack it open the last 5 minutes, but you cook it for 20 to 25 minutes. But if you're following exactly how I've just done it and keep opening it, then fine. Just cook it exactly the same time that I've just used to achieve the 30 minutes. So let's go look at the one in the oven and see what is showing us. Open that again. Now also with this one, if I was just making my normal cake the way I would usually do it, I will not be opening this as many times as I've done now, because again, every time you open the oven, the temperature drops. So it's coming out clean. Yeah, it is coming out clean. So it's coming out clean. So now I'm going to push this in because I don't want it full, and then I'm going to turn this off. Now whenever you make cake, you need to put these off. Whenever you bake cake, when you finish, don't leave it in the oven, because if you leave it in the oven, it continues to cook. Even though you've turned it off, the heat is still cooking your cake for you. So you need to take it out. So taking this out, I need to put these back into the oven. I want to create a space there. So take this out. Then what I'm going to do is take this out and put it on this second corkscrew. Bearing in mind I'm trying to use one hand to do this. I should use 2 hands though, but I'm trying to film at the same time. So then I'm gonna lift it up from the corkscrew. That's that. And remember, it's reason, so put that. One of the things that I said whenever you bake cake is to cover it to retain the moisture. So if you've watched my other cake video, this is what I use to cover my cake. So I'm just gonna cover it. Now this one, look at all that vapor that I was talking about. So get rid of that. I still leave it slightly cracked open, and then this one covered. And actually that's the cake. So let's just look at the cake we've baked. So that's the oven cake and that's the stovetop cake. Let's compare the two of them. Put them close to each other and compare the two of them. Oven cake, stovetop cake. Oven cake, stovetop. So it doesn't even look that much different. But let's see what it tastes like. But I'm can't eat it now until it's cooled down, so I'm just gonna leave it until it cools. So again, this remains cracked open to let the vapor escape, and then that one gets covered with that to retain the moisture. So that is the end of part 4. I think it was part 4, yeah. Video 1 recap. Video 1 has got the vegetables that I also cooked using Saladmaster skillet. And then the second one was the sauce, a quick sauce that I made using the Morrison tikka sauce and the rendered paste. The third one was the chicken, which I cooked a little bit to get the flavor in. Then put it in my air fryer with rendered sauce on one side. And once it's cooked for 10 minutes, turn it around and put the barbecue sauce. Then the third one was the fourth one that I now made was the cake. One cake on the stove top and the second in the oven. So when I plate it, I will show you pictures of it. I just hope I remember to take pictures of it. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.